General Membership Meeting, and we are very pleased to see good numbers of people today. We are thankful that despite of the usual busy Monday and all of this long weekend hangover that most of us are having today, you are here with us.
We're here again at our third General Membership Meeting. Thank you, CDC Director Frankie Villanueva, CDC officers led by EVP Philip Manilio, and our past directors, presidents, and all our board of directors and members, sponsors. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the third SILA General Membership Meeting. As you know, we have a full program today. We have a special guest, Undersecretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs. She's Undersecretary for International Economic Relations. And you will have a chance to answer some questions after her brief talk. On behalf of the CDC Board, President Jeff Pradan would like to inform all the members of, or apprise you of what's been happening in the zone and what problems we are trying to solve. And of course, we also want you to tell us what you need from your SILA board. That's what you elected us for. So we hope you'll, since Joanne introduced the members of the board that are here, you can approach me or anyone from the board, because we need feedback from you, and the only way we can help you is if you tell us what you need. And we're here also to welcome our new members, and it gives us great pleasure that for the past few general membership meetings, we've always had new members. So that's good. That means we're doing something right. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors for today, Poppy Lux Inc. They'll be presenting their products, and I'd like to welcome them as a new locator also. And looking out at you, it really bothers me because this nice gentleman is sitting all by himself, and you're all crowded there. So I'd like to encourage you to greet him, to sit with him, and you don't want to be strangers, because it might be his last time here. Okay, I wish you an interesting afternoon. Welcome.
I'll quickly go through kind of a little bit of an update on what SILA's been up to over the last quarter and some of the continuing projects that we've been doing throughout this year. And also some of the upcoming initiatives and events that you guys can look forward to joining as well. So next slide, please. So the next upcoming event we're going to roll out is, we did this actually about a year and a half ago, and we're trying to bring it back on again. This is the Clark Aviation Council, and it's kind of this event that we're going to have next month on the 7th, or actually November 7th, is a fellowship night. So we're inviting all the stakeholders involved in any aspect of aviation, whether you're travel agents, logistics, freight forwarders, aviation carriers, MRO, anything. Anybody involved with the airport and has their interests tied to the airport, manufacturing, anything. We're inviting you guys to join us for this. We're going to be getting together with SEOC, with all the other stakeholders to just kind of discuss the airport, the Freeport zone, and further promotion of it. One more, go back to that slide real quick. My common goal here is just ensuring the continuous development of Clark International Airport and attracting other aviation-related businesses to invest here. So it's kind of forming this committee of like-minded individuals and companies to be on that same kind of path. To give you guys an update on the CSR program that we've been undergoing for the last for this year, SILA has started a CSR program unique to SILA where we're focused on providing school chairs, desks with chairs to various schools in the area. Every organization has their own program. The government's building the classrooms and everything. So we wanted to find a place where we could have a direct impact and an immediate impact. So we've been doing this program now throughout this year. Our goal is to reach 1,000 donations of chairs and desks, and we've already up to around 495 or 795. So we have 205 more chairs to deliver this year, and then we'll continue this going into next year. So we're just doing the site inspection of the last place. But we've done in both Angeles and Mabalacat schools. So One of the things you guys will be seeing here pretty soon, probably next month, it's in the final evaluation and approval process with CDC traffic, is a traffic flyer, a safety and instruction and kind of informative flyer that it's a joint partnership program we're doing with CDC. Came about in the consultative process. We have these meetings with CDC and we discuss some of the issues in Clark. This one was, let's give out a flyer to the various motorcycles, cars, jeepneys that are coming into the zone. It just gives them information on the rules of the road. So it helps out everybody and just puts everybody on notice of what they need to be aware of when they're driving inside the Freeport zone, so it helps with safety and traffic and efficiency. So this will be coming out in November after it's approved. Now just some of the news and notes, kind of random things. SILA has just approved to have associate memberships. So it used to be that we only allowed for locators, actual companies who were locating in the Freeport zone, doing business in the Freeport zone. But we've now expanded our membership to include companies that are either operating within the Freeport zone, their customers are in the Freeport zone, like travel agencies, hotels, or companies that interface with locators in the Freeport zone. So a good example is a hotel or a shipping company that maybe wants to do business with some of the locators here and provide their services. They can now do so, advertise within our newsletter, within the website, and these other things, so they can inform everybody what's going on. We've got a website coming. The SILA website, we've redesigned it. We're making it much more robust. And this is piggybacking on what we're doing with the newsletter. So the newsletter's in the third issue of this third quarter this year. We'll be continuing the newsletter, but what I'd like to do is be putting this same information that's on the newsletter and a lot more on the website, especially information such as why invest, why locate in Clark, some of the statistics on employment, export, all the other good information that's going to attract people here that probably attracted some of you guys here. This is going to be readily accessible on the website to inform everybody.
AirAsia Philippines, we have Versar, we have DBC Tech, and Papilux Inc. So may I invite them to join me on stage to take their oath of membership. And of course to be led by our President, Mr. Jeff Redan.
All right, so I'll go ahead and lead you guys in the oath of membership, and if you'll just, well, you don't have to speak it out, just say it loud enough, we'll all hear you. If you just repeat after me, we'll get you guys inducted. So I, the official representative of, have been acknowledged as a member of the Clark Investors Locators Association. Do solemnly swear that I will abide by and uphold the Constitution and the bylaws of the Clark Investors Locators Association. That I will support all the programs and activities of the Investors Locators Association. Towards the attainment of its goals and objectives. Perform my duties and responsibilities as a member with the best of my ability and capacity. I take this pledge without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God.
guest speaker for today. Our guest speaker was born in the year, never mind the year. Guest speaker is from the Foreign Service. Surprise to you all is that prior to the Foreign Service, she came from the academy. In the 70s, she was a faculty member and director for admissions in Maryknoll College, which is now Miriam, and a member of the administrative board. She had a short stint with SGV before she came into the Foreign Service. At the Foreign Service, she was first assigned at the UN, United Nations in Vienna, then the Philippine Embassy there in Vienna, and then she became Consul General in Singapore. After that, she went home and became a special assistant to several undersecretaries. She was then assigned to Washington, and in 2003 was ambassador to India and concurrently in Nepal. 2007, she was ambassador to Hanoi. She became director of Foreign Service Institute. Now the concurrent undersecretary for the Office of International Economic Relations. She has 2 master's degrees from UST and UP, where she was a university scholar. She's married with 2 sons, a Kapampangan. May I have this honor to introduce Undersecretary Laura Cambao del Rosario.
Thank you for considering me as one of your speakers today. And I have some good news to deliver, and at the same time I'll also tell you some of the things that have been discussed in government about what needs to be done. But first, let me give you the good news, and then I'll give you the bad news later on, okay? Okay, good news. First slide, second slide. Okay. So I think we all know that, that the President has said that our foremost duty is to lift, to lift the nation from poverty through honest and effective governance. Next slide. Can we move to the next slide? It's not working. Okay, reforms initiated, and we have started them, and we hope we'll continue working on them until the end of this administration. And hopefully whoever will be president after that will continue the reforms. So right now, the central bank has improved standards on transparency, accountability, and fairness in the banking and financial sector. Second, pending passage of competition law, the Department of Justice created, wrong spelling, the Office for Competition to enforce laws on cartels and monopolies. This is, of course, to provide an equally level playing field. I hope you can read it. Is it all right? Is it? Yeah, okay. Next. The Department of Labor and Employment and TESDA, that's the Technical Education Skills Development Authority, are working on skills mapping and Philippines qualifications framework. First, let me explain that. Business has always been complaining that somehow the people that we produce from the schools are not sometimes equipped or trained to handle what you need. So what TESDA and DOLE are working right now is really trying to figure out what kind of branches do we have, what skills do they have, and then what do you need? And hopefully we'll be able to match the two together. Now if I will go farther than this, right now there's an Asia-Pacific skills and jobs mapping that we're doing, because what we see is that in the Asia-Pacific region there will also be a shortage of qualified labor. And for me, for the Philippines, if I look at it from the services point of view, if I were DOLE, I would jump on that opportunity. Because if I want to export labor abroad, remember, for me as Undersecretary for Economic Relations, I don't see Filipinos as assistants to nationals, because from the point of view of foreign affairs, the more Filipinos we have abroad, the more problems we have. But in my case, the more Filipinos we have abroad, the more services income that we have. So I look at them in terms of services. So what we're looking right now is Japan, Korea, and even the United States, and some members of the APEC, or this is Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation countries, they are running short of the needed labor, but we have to educate them in the way that they will need them, not educate them just any way we want to, and then hoping that they'll find a job. So we go to the next bullet. The CHED is the Critical Standards of State Universities and Colleges, and knowing Patricia Liquanan, I worked with her We're both from the same college, product of the private school, run by the Marinol nuns. She said that's her priority right now, to upgrade the qualifications and the standards of state university colleges. And of course, the PRC, the Philippine Regulatory Commission, has also looked into upgrading professional services education. In fact, I was here just maybe 6 weeks ago, and we were discussing how to upgrade nursing, accountancy, engineering, even nautical engineering, marine engineering, everything from seamen to nurses to even the high technology professions. And I don't know if some of you have been there, but Frankie should be familiar with that. Did you attend that? Didn't attend. PRC, no. Okay. So reforms initiated. The DOJ is also looking at the most efficient way to monitor cases and hearings on enforcement of business contracts. What is sad is that whenever there's a business conflict, it takes so long for courts to enforce business contracts. Because we don't have regional trial courts that are commercial courts. We have, thank God, we have some commercial courts. I heard one in Quezon City and one in Angeles. So hopefully we can train more judges who are familiar with commercial law. Now, right now, next week, in fact, we are sending around 12 people from the Philippines to go to Korea to look at how they enforce contracts in Korea. In Korea, they can settle a problem, enforcement of business contracts, within about 100 days at most. In the Philippines, it takes us close to 1 year, about 256 days. It's double the time that they take. And in some countries, it's even lower than that. So we're looking at the information technology aspect, if we can use the courts and so that they put the cases online. You see, once we have things online and people can monitor, judges will be more efficient. The more you keep things under wraps, the slower people get. But if they know people are watching you and they say, oh, kaso, because this case has been there for the past 250 days, hopefully there's pressure on the judges. So maybe you should also work on whoever is the judge of this commercial court in Angeles to make him or her work faster. And of course, if she's overloaded, maybe it's time to put up another one. And then the local competitiveness councils set up by the National Competitiveness Council itself, the president is Bill Luz, whom I'm working with, will study how to make it easier to do business in towns and cities in coordination regional BPI offices. Unfortunately, with the latest news, we went down by 2 points, despite the work of the National Competitiveness Council. I think you saw that, isn't it? I said, of course we were not surprised, because when I was talking to Mr. Bidlus about that, I asked him, I said, how is your work going on with the local government entities? And he said, he said, it's worse. They don't want to open up. They don't want to simplify opening businesses. They don't want to simplify, even just getting business permits. And I said, why is it? I said, don't they see that it will be better if you open up, if you make it easier? Somehow, I think it's because the local communities here, I hope there's somebody here from the from the Angeles and Mabalacat councils, or I hope there's a friend of the mayor or the vice mayor here. This is the story. I know how hard it is to even get into a business permit. I operate my own school, Pax at Lumen. It's a science and math academy along Santo Enciero Street. It's a very small school. Thank God this year we have 70 when we should have 120. But every time I renew the business permit, it's like we have dentists here. It's like pulling teeth. Okay. I tried also to open up a business in Quezon City. It took me 7 trips just to get the business permit that I needed. And I have to be absent from work. And you know what 7 days means to somebody like me or people like you. And of course, in Singapore, you can open a business within 1 day. In some countries, within 2 days. And I keep on wondering, why do they think this way? Because for our local governments, opening business is revenue generation. For everything, for every signatory that they need, it's money, isn't it? So if you want to make more money, add more signatures. What they don't realize is that if you open up as many businesses as possible, you'll have more employees, you'll have more income taxes. And you'll have less crime, less poverty, and less problems. The more people are employed, the higher the education will be, because they can feed their families, they can educate them. You're looking at the short term, what will I earn this year? What will be my revenues this year? Instead of looking 5, 10 years from now. Right now, San Fernando is easier to do business with. That's why more businesses are going in San Fernando. Compare Angeles with San Fernando, and I think you will see what I'm talking about. So simplify. If there are 15 signatures needed, if you can cut it down to 5, so much the better. Or 7, of course. And then don't think of the revenues from fees and permits. It's better to pay income taxes, better to pay the salaries, and the people who are employed will pay the income tax. That's better for us. Of course, some people will say, but the income tax goes to the national government, but they have what they call the internal revenue, whatever, and this it takes so long for local governments to take that. But still, I don't buy it. If you really want to lift poverty, make it easier, because then more people will come here to invest. And then the other thing, of course, is reforms further. Okay, the National Competitiveness Council working reform of regulations in 5 priorities area. These are the things that we're working with NCC. Starting a business, dealing with permits, getting credit, enforcing contracts with local governments and private business. Again, this can only work at the local government sector. We cannot do this at the national government. And for us at the national government, once we go down to the local government, it's up to us, it's up to them to listen to us or not, because we see it, we're the ones who face people abroad. I am concurrently ex officio, the senior official for APEC, that's the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. 4 times a year I go abroad to meet with the other senior officials. And we are all members, or rather officials, of the Ministries of Trade or the Ministries of Foreign Affairs. And almost always, I see us in comparison to them, we suffer in comparison really. And I cannot do anything at my level, except maybe to convince you wherever, that's why I accept speaking engagements like this. If possible, I'd like to go to every town and city all over the Philippines just to tell what needs to be done, because I know what is happening out there. Mexico, for instance, has improved in its competitiveness. What did they do? 3 years ago, they launched a contest called the Most Useless Regulation. It was a beautiful contest. So everybody, every businessman came out with the most useless regulation, and then they won prizes. And then the government took a look at this and said, okay, this is really useless. Get rid of it, get rid of it. And pretty soon, I think they were able to get rid of around 1,000 regulations, more than 1,000, which are really useless. Maybe you can start that in your own area. What is the most useless regulation at Clark? What's the most useless regulation in Angeles? What's the most useless regulation in Mabalaca? In Tarlac, wherever, in San Fernando, in Zambales. Maybe you can start it at your level. Yeah. If I started at my level, the most useless regulation, I'm sure other people will fire me and say, what is she talking about? But I challenge you, have a contest here, the most useless regulation in Angeles City. And if Mayor Pangitlan will get angry with me, I'll settle with him separately. Okay, but please do that. And then, so these are the ones. Priority areas, starting a business, dealing with permits, getting credit, especially the banks, or if you have credit corporations, loan corporations that can simplify, getting credit, enforcing contracts. That one will go to the courts, of course. Next, does governance really help? With the new government that we have? Yes, it does. The Philippines has gone up by 20 rank levels in the World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness Rankings from 2010 to 2012. And we have also improved our Fraser Institute ranking, and we have improved our ranking by Transparency International on corruption perception. Remember, Transparency International grades corruption perception, how people view us. Okay, is there a Malaysian here? Is there a Malaysian, honestly? Okay, there's no Malaysian here. Okay, because I'm going to talk against Malaysia. Okay? All right. According to one European ambassador who is based in Malaysia, who is also the ambassador to the Philippines on a non-resident basis. You know how it is to be non-resident ambassador. Like in my case, I was ambassador to Nepal on a non-resident basis because I was living in India. So this particular ambassador lives in Kuala Lumpur and he goes to the Philippines maybe 3-4 times a year. During one visit to the Philippines, to Manila, Another European ambassador hosted the dinner, and I happened to be there. And he told me, he said, Ambassador, he said, do you know that Malaysia is more corrupt than the Philippines? Really? That's good news, right? I said, of course, I didn't believe it. I said, come on. I said, I don't think so. And look at them, they're way up there. They're following Singapore in terms of, attraction to investments. No, he said, because your press is so open, you bring out all your corruption outside, their corruption is hidden. See, remember, this is Transparency International on Corruption Perception. We are viewed to be corrupt because we are open, which is also good, right? The problem is, if you're open about corruption, we should also try to do something about it. For me, corruption right now, at least the perception has gone down. That's why we have improved in all of this. 20 points, that's unbelievable, by the World Economic Forum. In terms of governance, because we have a better government. Right now, are there rumors among you that there's somebody who is corrupt in government? In the past, you knew who was corrupt, right? Right now, can you tell me one government official whom you think is corrupt? Wala, diba? Not in the cabinet. Unless you know somebody, you tell me, so I'll tell him, sir, tingin sa inyo sa Angeles corrupt kayo. Okay, next.